as possible.
And San Diego, boy, they have all the ingredients. And Tom, sometimes a city and a franchise is due to win one. They've been around a long, long time. They've been to 2 World Series, double by Alvarez off Jimenez down the left field line. So the Mets did get a run here with a man on second and nobody out. So maybe we have a little drama, and Alvarez is all pumped up. Anyway, San Diego, listen.
Job that Schultz has done. I really like the way that San Diego is positioned.
First and third, Tom, the Mets in his 8th inning. My goodness, that would flip the tables. Maybe by the time you get off this phone call, 4-3 Mets. Who the hell knows? The Yankees, I think they're
won game 1 of the next series, but, didn't win the series. But they've been through it before, so they know how to get through these 5 off days.
Base hit Lindor, Tom. It's 3-2, first and second, nobody out. Now, they won't. In the old days, you'd bunt here with your 2-place hitter and get a sacrifice fly to tie the game. They won't do that now, but you could do that. You can't have a double play. What's the strategy for the Mets with the number 2 hitter up? I'm not sure who's hitting 2 today. Oh, Iglesias.
Yeah, that's Iglesias. He can handle the bat. I actually think it's a good idea. Now, you're down in the game here, but I'd rather have Vientos hitting with runners in scoring position. Nobody out, yeah. I think... and Snicker's going to pull
he's putting Iglesias in.
And bring in his closer.
How about that? 2 on, nobody out. He's going to bring in his closer. Boy, that's a tricky spot. Lolly Fingers somewhere says, hey, it's about time. These guys get used in multiple situations. All right, so you like the Yankees. You're with me.
Reed Bell. So I don't worry about him at all.
Iglesias down the right field line for a base hit. They're going to try to send Marte, and he will score 3-3. First and third, nobody out. Tom, we have turned the tables. Maybe Sam. Yankees, Tom, I'll let you go watch the conclusion. Thanks for a few minutes. Get us started today. Appreciate it very much. Always a pleasure.
You got it, Chris. Thanks.
Tom Verducci, 4-3 Mets. They started against Schnellenbach. They got some hits. They got a big hit against Jimenez. 5 hits in a row. Oh, on a sacrifice fly in the middle of it. Oh, they got 5 hits in a row before the sacrifice fly. Wow. And then the Mets against Iglesias doubled down the right field line or singled, and then a sacrifice fly. So there's a man on second off a stolen base, and the Mets have scored 4 runs and lead Atlanta in the top of the 8th, 4-3. Wow, what a story in baseball today. Sale would have to go this nightcap to get them into the postseason. And remember, if the Braves did win that nightcap, they would play in San Diego, and the Mets would play in Milwaukee. And did he just hit a home run? Is that Jesse? That is Nimmo. And he just hit the ball out of the ballpark in the upper deck and right. And the Mets now have a 6-3 lead. A 6-1 outburst in the top of the 8th inning against Schnellenbach, Jimenez, and Iglesias. And the Mets now are in excellent shape to win this game. And now everybody in Arizona has become a Met fan for the rest of the day. Oh, my goodness. Lots to do. Good to have you aboard. Snicker out to get Iglesias out of the game, which is a smart move because he might need him now. All right, here we go now. Atlanta, first and third with 1 out. And he brought in Diaz to pitch to Urshela, and he throws the ball on the outside part of the plate as the Mets try to get these 5 outs to clinch a playoff spot. Urshela, of course, we all know about him. Started the year all sorts of places. He's a good defensive third baseman. He has not been a big enough offensive player, but with Austin Riley out, that's who the Braves go. He hits a foul ball out of play. So Diaz, who threw 26 pitches yesterday in this game here to see if he can secure the 5 outs, as the Mets went to Maton, who hit a batter, and then he gave up a little bloop single, first and third. And, the Braves are eventually going to have their better part of that lineup coming up, so we shall see. Here's the 1-1 from Diaz, and there's a ground ball back to the mound. No runner will score. Gets the out at first base. Runner moves up, so it's second and third with 2 out at 6-3. This at bat here, if the Braves can hang around, they need a base hit. Dr. Falcon, and he's aboard, and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Doctor, 100%. Nobody in America thought the Braves would give up 6 runs in this 8th inning. Kelnick, there's a ball. What a play by Alonso at first base, but he won't get the out, and the runs will score. That was a ball down a right field line. But Diaz did not get to the bag, so Alonso made a nice diving play, saved a run, but Diaz is half in the bag. Where's he doing? He didn't sleep. sleeping on the mound, and he didn't get there in time, and a run scores, and the guy from first went, the runner from second went to third. So it's first and third now at 6-4. A fastball that Koenig laced, and Diaz never hustled to get the first base. Boy, what a brain lock scenario that is by Diaz. So now it's 6-4 with runners on the corners as Atlanta looks to bounce back. Here is with a mound visit to calm him down a little bit. Here is Hayden in Virginia, Met fan after that Jet disaster, biting his fingers off. Hayden, take it away, pal. What do you have? Go ahead. Let me hear.
They're hunting for flags. Anyway, it's a terrible loss.
If you put yourself in a position to lose the game, you can't be complaining about, this and the flags and everything else. All right, here's Albies now. Harris walked, so the bases are loaded with 2 out in this bottom of the 8th inning with Albies, a better hitter right-handed, and Diaz almost threw the ball back to the MLB TV screen. Diaz has been awful in this situation. He didn't cover the bag on the ball that Alonso made a great stab on, which cost the Mets an out. He's walked the ballpark. He can't throw the ball over the plate. Here's the 1-0 to Albies, and that's high, 2-0. So all of a sudden, the Mets, with the bases loaded at 6-4, after that 8th inning uprising, now find themselves in a cake mixer in a huge situation here now with Atlanta. Here's the 2-0 to Albies. And that is bounce foul. Boy, he had a fastball right down the middle of the plate. And Albies, listen, he's been out for 5 weeks. It was a good pitch. It was a good pitch. It was low. But boy, oh boy, if the Mets lose this game, Arizona might win. I mean, I'll tell you right now, you can't lose the game with a 6-1 8th inning. I'm sorry, that you can't do. This game cannot be lost. This is for a postseason berth, and here's the 2-1 to the plate. That's outside, ball 3. So all of a sudden, Albies now is ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike, with the bases loaded and 2 out in the bottom of the 8th inning, after the Mets scored 6 in the top of the 8th to take a 6-3 lead when they trailed 3-0 the whole game. Here's a 3-1 from Diaz, and there's a ball in the left field and pretty well hit, and it's off the wall. It gets by the left fielder. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score, and there's Atlanta Braves score another run. A 3-run double off the wall in left field by our good buddy Albies, and Atlanta leads 7-6 in an absolute classic now down in Atlanta. The Mets, who had a 6-1 8th inning, bring Diaz in, and Diaz gives it up. Back to back to back to back. And now all of a sudden the Mets, oh my goodness, how they bounce back in a Game 2 scenario will be fascinating. Iglesias now can close it as New York trails 7-6. As Albies just missed a grand slam out the deep left on a 3-1 pitch. And here comes Ozuna, 12 in front of the hour. We continue our Mad Dog Unleashed right after this. Ozuna struck out on a 3-2 pitch, but the damage has been done. They brought Diaz in, first and third, and 1 out in the 8th inning. He got into trouble with control, and then he got into major trouble because he didn't cover first base on a ball that Koenig hit that was a shot down the line that Alonso made a great catch on, but he had nobody to throw to cover first base. A run scored there, then another walk, and then Albies, batting right-handed, hit a ball off the wall out and left, and everybody went around those bases like they're in Paris at the Olympics. And they score 3 runs, and Atlanta now leads the Mets 7-6 as we begin to play the top of the 9th inning. This is drama that you would not believe here now in Atlanta, because you have the Mets who used Diaz, who used a lot of their pitchers here today, blew a 6-3 lead here in the top of the 8th inning, and Diaz fell apart, making $15 million a year, fell apart here in this bottom of the 8th inning, and now the Mets. Now, I made a mistake before Iglesias is out of the game because they put Bummer in. So, I don't know. They're going to use, I think, Pierce Johnson to see if they get these 3 outs. And then, of course, put the Mets and put everybody in Arizona, a huge Brave fan, in game number 2. Boy, I'll tell you, if the Mets ever lose this doubleheader after blowing this first game, New York City, Chris Christie, and the whole fellas, they will never, ever, ever, ever get over it. Never. If you're a Met fan and you lose the game today and you lose that nightcap, you will not watch a ball game in the postseason. I don't care if they put it in your backyard and you had free tickets. You close the blinds. So here's Johnson now to start the inning, and he gets a pop-up to get the first out. That's a third base. Urchella's there, and he makes the catch. So 1 out in this top of the 9th. Drama unfolding here. Jimmy in Orange County says hello. Jim, good afternoon. How are you? Jimmy, shoot.
Hey, Chris, I swear I get the slowest speed in America. I haven't even seen the pop-up yet. My gosh, this is unbelievable. But I don't think that Diaz would have gotten to the bag in time on that throw.
Oh, yes, he would have. Yes, he would have. He didn't run, Jim. He didn't run.
That was a long throw.
Jimmy, you got to run off the mound. I mean, that was a terrible job by Diaz. He pointed to himself, you have to go to first base there. He would have beaten Kelenic to the bag. He would have beaten Kelenic.
And Diaz threw that pitch 3 times. They called it a ball.
Now, I got a bunch of Met fans in the building here, Eddie and Colin, and they're upset at the home plate umpire now for the inconsistencies behind the plate. Eddie's all pissed off. Colin's even he don't care about the Islanders today. So from that standpoint, there you go. Anyway, Jim, that was a play that Diaz has to cover the bag.
He's standing there like a dressmaker's dummy, but I just don't think he would have got that ball. That for him to get up and make that throw and get him in time. He looks kind of like a combination of Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, except he throws it better than both of them. I mean, I'm all in on Jaden Daniels. And he was very helpful.
As you should be. He runs the ball well and everything else. 100% on Daniels, and he has done a tremendous job. All right, base hit by Marte now. So Lindor's up here in this 9th inning. With 1 out and 1 on. Lindor, listen, he hasn't played that much because of his back, but he hit a home run yesterday. And obviously, he hit had a base hit last inning to get him going up the middle, a line shot by Lindor. So all of a sudden now he's got an opportunity against the Braves back of the bullpen. Now he hits a fly ball that's pretty well hit to deep right center, and this ball is out of here. Lindor has just golfed 1 out, and the Mets lead 8-7. A 2-run homer by Lindor, and New York has the advantage. Oh my goodness, what a baseball game. As Lindor hit a ball out to right center, it looked like a fly ball at first, but the ball carried and carried and carried. Harris scaled the wall and it left it, and New York now leads 8-7, and Diaz gets a second life in the bottom of the 9th. Oh my goodness gracious.
I have Gary in one ear. They did not think that was gone off the bat.
I thought it was a fly ball to right, and all of a sudden it took off. How about that little MVP candidacy in the National League? So Lindor, somewhere in Jersey, Christie, is who screamed at me at Lindor all year. Now he can have a last laugh with that big base hit. So, say again? Diaz has to pitch the 9th inning for crying out loud. So a 2-run homer of Pierce Johnson with 1 out. Drama still unfolding here. This is why baseball is the best game. At the highest level, this is why baseball is the best game. You must get 27 outs. And the Mets couldn't do it, and now the Braves can't do it. Here's Rich in Orange County, California. Rich, good afternoon. How are you? Richard, shoot.
Hi. I'm interrupt with the Jets, but I am enjoying the
bottom of the 9th. Diaz stays in the game. 8-7 Mets. The first pitch is swung on out to right, a pop-up. Olsen and an inside fastball. Lindor's going to make the catch. So now the Mets are 2 outs away after they were 5 outs away from having to play game 2. After the Braves were essentially couple of outs away. They got the first out in the top of the 9th inning, not having to play game 2. Now the Mets are 2 outs away from having a little party there at Truist Park and make Atlanta sweat in that second game of this doubleheader. And, of course, that Sale pitch, which will hurt their opportunity against San Diego if they happen to win tomorrow. There's a fastball strike by Diaz as we begin hour 2 now. Diaz looks a little more settled down after he imploded like a cheap suit in the bottom of the 8th inning. So Diaz here now against White, a young kid I'm not that familiar with. I got to be fair. The Atlanta roster at this point I'm not on top of, as I should be. But Diaz is 1-1. He's thrown 24 pitches here in this unbelievable first game of a doubleheader. And he's a swinging foul ball, strike 2 from Diaz. And the Mets now, I got Eddie biting his fingernails, Colin biting his fingernails. Every New York fan here, from a National League fan from, up in northern Connecticut down to Lawrenceville, New Jersey, excited. The 1-2 is fouled out of play. So Diaz trying to get 2 more outs to put the Mets in the postseason. And, we'll see what happens. Looks like Milwaukee tomorrow. They get another rehab at the Brewers. Because you got to figure Atlanta will come back and bounce back and win game number 2. And then, of course, somebody out there in Arizona like Lavello has to hope his team figures out a way. The Mets do, watching the game. Remember, Arizona folks, it's ball 2. They're watching the game in the ballpark because they got to hop on a plane as soon as the game's over if, in fact, they get lucky and get in. The 2-2 from Diaz. High, ball 3. That could have been a strike for this umpire. Who is the home plate umpire today? Who was it? One at bat is it's a strike. The next at bat it's a ball. Here's the 3-2 now from Diaz. Here she comes, and there's a little looping. Now it's going to be a base hit into center field. So Diaz fell behind on a 3-2 pitch, and White got a base hit to center field. So the tying run is on base here in this bottom of the ninth inning in what was a ho-hum 3-0 Brave rout. And here comes Mendoza, and I think he's going to get Diaz the hell out of this game and go to Ryan Stanek. What do you think, Eddie? Your thoughts here, because he visits the mound, and I think he may make a switch. So the Met closer, who's thrown 27, 28 pitches, is being talked to by Mendoza here, and looks like Mendoza's going to leave him in. Oh, my goodness, as the Mets circle around Diaz, I hear at the mound that Mendoza's giving him a little pep talk. You paid him $15 million. Can he get 2 freaking outs to get the Mets in the postseason? And I bet you right now, if you're looking at it from a Mendoza standpoint, why did you let him pitch 26 pitches yesterday? I don't understand that. And you had a 5-0 lead, and you had an out or two to work with, and he left them to throw pitch after pitch at Miller Park. All right, so we got a leadoff, 1-out single. We shall see now what occurs here as we move into this scenario here with, I'm not sure who's up, but is it Albies again? I don't even know who's up in this spot. No, it's not Albies. I don't know this Brave lineup, but everybody, it's Laureano, who's had a big game today, including a 2-run homer. The pitch, there's a ball that is fouled down the left field line, a hard ground ball. Oh, my goodness, Laz Diaz on a last-second call, just fouled down the left field line. A hard shot. Boy, the Met fan right now somewhere in New York has got to be just sweating a pickle. And that ball, that looked foul, and that was going to tie the game up. That was going to tie the game up. See if the Braves send a runner in this spot. Get that tying run to second base. Anyway, here is the 0-1 to Laureano. He's the XA. He's got 3 hits today. Here she comes, and he swings and misses on a pitch that's 20 feet outside. What a job by Chris Russo. White steals second base, so there's a man on second here with 1 out. You don't think I know my baseball? Yeah, you have to sit there and you have to try to swipe the bag. Eddie can't look, Colin can't look, but I can. The 1-2 is fouled out of play to Laureano. So the Mets, who, listen, a 22-33 to start the regular year. All sorts of cries about David Stearns firing Buck Showalter, the young manager in Mendoza. They're 2 outs away from going into the postseason. The pitch, grounded foul. Count holds at 1 ball, at no balls and 2 strikes. The Mets, who were basically left for dead on Memorial Day, the best record in baseball essentially from that point on. A bad last stretch where they lost 3 in a row and looked lifeless Friday and Saturday in Milwaukee. Bounced back yesterday, bounced back in the 8th inning today, bounced back in the 9th inning today, and now they are in a situation where they're basically 4 strikes away. Here's the 0-2. That's outside, ball 1 on 2 strikes. That ball was barely saved by Alvarez. You cannot let White get to third base where they can tie the game up. I'm not sure if the Mets have another rally in them, so they better make sure they win the game now. They've had 2 unbelievable rallies in this one. The winner, of course, is in the postseason. The loser has got to worry about game 2. Here is the pitch. Struck him out on a swinging strike 3 on a sweeper. So Diaz gets the second out in the 9th inning on a sweeper on Laureano, who just missed a double on the first pitch. So 2 outs and a man on second base. The Mets are now, he missed that by about 10 feet. The Mets are now 1 out away from being in the postseason, and they're going to face D'Arnaud, who won the game against Kansas City on Saturday night with a home run in the 9th inning against the Royals, which got the Braves into this spot right now. D'Arnaud, the ex-Met. Here's the pitch. He swings and misses at a sweeper.
Diaz, sliders in a row.
Yeah, very good sliders. So maybe a little calm down scenario for Diaz here. 2 strikes away, the Mets, to get into the postseason. D'Arnaud is a very dangerous offensive player. The 0-1, that's low. 1 ball and 1 strike. So D'Arnaud, I believe he's pinch hitting in this spot. He's been in the whole game. I'm sorry, 2 for 4. What am I talking about? Yes, he's gotten a couple of hits in this game. So D'Arnaud has played. He hit the homer in the 9th inning against the Royals on Saturday night with 1 out to left center to give the Braves the 2-1 win. Here's the 1-1. Swing, miss again at a slider. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I would stick with that slider. I ain't throwing any fastballs to D'Arnaud. I am throwing slider after slider after slider. The Mets 1 pitch away from being in the postseason in 2024. Here she comes. Ball 2 low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Through the slider again, as you'd expect Diaz to do with the right hand hitting D'Arnaud. 2 balls, 2 strikes, tying run at second base, and a wild and woolly one here at Truist Park with the Mets trying to hold off Atlanta and make the postseason. 40th pitch is forthcoming from Diaz. So I don't think he's going to be able to pitch tomorrow in game one of that wild card series. Boy, somewhere Pat Murphy says keep on throwing strikes. He, the Milwaukee manager. All right, here's Diaz from the belt. And here comes the 2-2. That is ground ball to short. Lindor fittingly will get the Mets into the postseason with a 6-3 as Diaz throws the glove on the mound. And the Mets a little too exuberant from Diaz, but Lindor hugging Iglesias. Here comes Alfonso. And the Mets in Atlanta, a park they never win, hugging and going crazy on the mound as the New York Mets have made the 2024 postseason. A little circle around Diaz. Remember, he lost all of last year with that terrible injury in the World Baseball Classic. Very shaky today, but he got the job done finally as the Braves blew a 7-6 lead in the ninth after blowing a 3-0 lead in the eighth after they came back from 6-3 down to take the lead. The New York Mets are in the postseason, and somewhere in the valley, the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll and Christian Walker and Perdomo, the shortstop, and of course the manager, our little pal, Torey Lovullo, is begging Mendoza to figure it out in game two. I'd be surprised. Wow.
You probably lose Diaz for game one, but you save Sevy.
You saved Sevy. Good job. Sevy will go game one. That, folks, was one. If that is the way the baseball postseason is going to be, that is one. That's the 11th franchise postseason berth for the Mets. That is one of the unbelievable 2 innings I have seen in a long time. They scored 12 runs in the last 2 innings of this game. 6 for the Mets, 4 for the Braves, 2 for the Mets. They scored 12 runs in the last 2 innings, in the last 8th and the 9th frames. 12 outs, 12 runs. That's a baseball game. And that is why Dave Anderson told me this for years. The Pulitzer Prize winner who took over from Red Smith, New York Times. Dave Anderson, who's been on this show many a time, if you're not mistaken, he's passed away now, many a time. Dave Anderson used to tell me, covered Jackie Robinson in the Brooklyn Eagle back in the early 50s. He said it many times. He says, Chris, I love all the sports, but you know why baseball is the best? Why is that, Dave? He said at the highest level, without a clock, it's the best game. And today, you saw the reasons why. 12 after the hour, we continue. We're Mad Dog on League.